When you're ordering Chinese food, it is almost a requirement that you order some fried rice. Now, there are tons of variations on fried rice, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I already have recipes for shrimp fried rice and cauliflower fried rice. But I thought it was about time that I made the classic fried rice. This simple recipe is endlessly versatile, and it's also great for using up any leftover veggies that you might have on hand. So let me show you how to make it. To get started, you'll finely dice one large carrot, or you could use two smaller ones if that's what you have. I tend to have fresh carrots quite often in my fridge as I like to snack on them, but as an alternative, you could also use a frozen bag of mixed carrots and peas in this recipe. I've shown you how to do that before on my shrimp fried rice recipe, and either method works. So it's really up to you on if you'd like to chop up a fresh carrot or use frozen. And if you are using frozen, I'll tell you how much to add here in a second. Next, you'll dice up half of a small yellow onion. You'll use both a regular onion and green onions in this recipe, and in terms of the green onion, you'll need 4 of them. Thinly slice the green onion and separate the green and white parts. The white parts of the green onion can be pushed over by the regular onion as that will all get cooked together, and the green parts of the green onion will be used more as garnish that's stirred in at the end. So once that's all chopped up, you can place the carrots, onion, and white parts of the green onion all in one prep bowl to take over to the stove, and then the green parts of the green onion in another small prep bowl. This recipe does move pretty quickly as it is so easy, so it's best to have everything ready to just pour and dump in over by the stove. I also love to add a bit of freshly minced ginger, about a half a teaspoon or so. Now, if you don't have ginger, it's not the end of the world. You can still make this recipe without it, but I personally love the boost of flavor that it adds. Then measure out a cup of frozen peas. You don't need to thaw these. They'll thaw a bit naturally just sitting next to the stove as you saute the onion. And if you want to use a mix of frozen carrots and peas or frozen peas, carrots, and corn, you can measure out about 1.5 to 2 cups or so, depending on how veggie heavy you like it. To prep the egg part of this egg fried rice recipe, go ahead and crack 3 large eggs into a mixing cup or bowl, then lightly beat them together. And lastly, let's talk about the rice. You'll want to use day-old rice for this recipe, and that's because day-old rice is cold and a bit dried out, which makes it easier to stir fry. If you try to use just cooked rice, it'll be soft and sticky and won't fry up in the wok quite the same. I'm also using a long grain jasmine rice, but any long grain rice works just fine. I went ahead and cooked up some rice last night to prep for filming today, and if you have my healthy meal prep cookbook, hint hint, you know that the best way to meal prep rice is to spread it out on a sheet pan so that it can cool down quickly. You don't want to leave rice sitting at room temperature too long for food safety reasons, so as soon as it's cooled on the sheet pan, go ahead and put it in a storage container and then place it in the fridge. All right, let's make this fried rice recipe. Heat a wok or large pan over medium-high heat, and after the empty pan is fully heated, go ahead and add 2 tablespoons or so of a high-heat oil like avocado oil. Add your diced carrots and onion and saute that for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then add 2 minced garlic cloves and the half a teaspoon of minced ginger and saute for another 30 seconds. My camera battery died right as I was adding that, so I missed filming that part, but it's in there. Then use your spatula to push the veggies to one side of the pan. Now, unlike other recipes that have you cook the eggs first, then remove those, then cook the veggies, I've always preferred to cook the veggies first, then simply scramble the eggs right next to them. I find it easier, faster, and it results in less dirty dishes as nothing has to be removed from the pan. Many of you know that I spent time in Thailand, and this is often done with Thai stir fries. Plus, the eggs scramble so quickly, it really only takes a minute. So once the eggs are softly scrambled, add the peas and 4 cups of that cooked day-old rice. And side note, I'll usually just let the rice come to room temperature as I'm prepping all of the other ingredients. Stir that all together for another 2 to 3 minutes until the peas are cooked and the rice is warmed through. In terms of the sauce for this recipe, which gives the white rice that brown coloring, add 3 tablespoons of tamari soy sauce and 2 teaspoons of toasted sesame oil, plus kosher salt and finely ground white pepper to your taste preference. Just don't go overboard on the white pepper. I did that once and it overpowered the dish, so just a pinch is all you'll need. You could also add a bit of oyster sauce if you're not gluten-free like I am. Stir that all together so that each rice kernel is fully coated in the sauce and flavorings. Then add the green parts of the green onion as the final garnish and remove it from the heat to serve. I'm also gonna make a shameless plug for this wok as I love it. So if you're in need of a wok, I'll link it below. As much as I love all-clad cookware, I had a stainless steel wok years ago, but never enjoyed cooking on it. So I got this carbon steel one, and it was life-changing when it came to making stir fries. Again, you can make this recipe in a regular pan, and I've shown you that before, so don't fret if you don't have a wok. I'm just sharing that I do love this one if you happen to be in the market for one. This homemade fried rice recipe is so easy to make and such a classic, and I'll often serve it up in a big bowl family style with a bunch of other mains like my chicken lettuce wraps, kung pao chicken, or Mongolian beef. Though if you're having a date night at home or just want to serve it up a bit fancier, you can also place it in a small bowl and invert it onto a plate for a mound of fried rice, and I'll show you that during my taste test here in a second. I'm just gonna dig right in to the big bowl because I'm gonna end up eating all of this myself anyway. This is seriously my favorite. It is super delicious, and I love that you get a little bit of the soy sauce flavor and the toasted sesame oil and just all of the veggies and the rice. It's simple yet completely packed with flavor. Now, more often than not, I would eat this out of a bowl or off a plate with some chopsticks or with a fork. But if you want a fun way to serve it up, you can scoop it into a small little bowl, pack it in, and then invert it on a plate. And I will show you how it turns out. Ta-da! Look at that. Now you can of course eat the fried rice all on its own, but I do have some other delicious Asian-inspired recipes on my website, including Asian chicken lettuce wraps that are my personal favorite. They're very delicious. The egg drop soup, which I just showed you guys, and I've got a Mongolian beef recipe and a beef and broccoli recipe coming your way very soon. I hope you guys enjoyed today's recipe for fried rice, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this recipe, please do go over to my website and give it 5 stars. That would mean so much. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.